People get stuck in getting listed on quick commerce like Swiggy, Zepto and Instamart and Blinkit. What is the hack to get a young brand listed on these quick commerce platforms? What products categories are you excited about that young people should start a company in? For a 20-year-old, what is the minimum capital that you feel to launch on Amazon?
Try to have at least something between 5 lakh to 20 lakh rupees if you're looking to start an Amazon brand, and do your research.
Hi, what's your name?
Pulkit Chavda.
How old are you?
Just turned 30.
What do you do for a living?
I'm an entrepreneur for a living.
What company do you run?
I run a company called NUVR.
What does it do?
So we work with large FMCG brands and run their e-commerce business.
That's very exciting. A lot of 18 to 20 years old are interested in e-commerce. So what products categories are you excited about that young people should start a company in?
I guess sustainable is going to pick up. That's one category which I feel you need passion to be able to do it. And I guess the younger people actually carry that, undefined passion, right? So that's one space I think, one should look at. Health supplements, health food, health in general, after COVID, I think people have figured out that, longevity is a thing. So, that segment. So I think these two I'm quite bullish on.
And in terms of sustainables, any example of a product?
So, there's a company, you can check them out, and I'm a big fan, called Bamboo. And, they've basically started doing sustainable packaging. So they supply to the likes of Swiggy, Amazon, etc. And, they're essentially providing, those regular paper or cardboard packaging products, but sustainably. So that's a space which is going to grow because, again, people are going to shop online. So identifying segments where, there is some kind of, tailwind because of how people are consuming, and building, backwards for it. It could even be, say, sustainable toothbrush, because people are eventually always want to brush their teeth. The way to choose is, the market should be either very, very large already or growing very quickly and is going to be large. That's how I would say you could kind of pick a market.
What are the top 3 things a new entrepreneur should keep in mind while starting an e-commerce brand today in India?
So I think one thing is, you got to have a strong differentiation factor where, you can go to an Amazon and search and you can find 1,001 things. But the idea is your product has to have some innate difference. If it is just a Me Too rip-off product, then anybody can come and, build it. Identifying some kind of innovation, some kind of design innovation. It could be design-led, it could be utility-led, it could be packaging-led, but it has to be, different. The second is, it has to always have a good gross margin, because, the more businesses sell on, say, Amazon, or businesses continue to market on Instagram, the costs of doing business is going to always, increase. So you have to identify spaces where your gross margin, is upwards of, 65 to 70% or more, right at any point of time. That's the second thing. The third thing, a large market. I think for any business, whether e-com or not, you have to build in a space where there is an opportunity which is large enough, and, you can come in and take some market share of a growing pie.
If you want to help founders today who want to build an e-commerce brand, how can NUVR help?
So NUVR actually, our target segment is, traditional offline brands, who've got very large 400, 500,000 crore business and who don't understand online. So we completely run everything, as a partner for them. With new age companies, NUVR can, so we've selectively, identified certain companies where we feel there is a large opportunity, and we can work in some kind of skin in the game capacity with them, right? If they can't, pay us, in terms of, say, profit share or revenue share because the pie is small, we can even look to consider some kind of like an equity deal where we can invest as well. So I invest in personal capacity. From NUVR, I have not invested yet, but then we can look to do that also.
What do you have to say to entrepreneurs who are procrastinating right now but really want to start up?
So I think, as an entrepreneur, procrastination is one thing that you have to change. You can't be a procrastinating entrepreneur. That's something very, very clear. 5 years ago, I used to be quite lazy in life in general also. When it comes to, building a business, or if you want to build a business, you have to be plugged in 24/7, 365. I think I'm always plugged in, right? And that's one thing which procrastination is a killer of, right? So you have to leave that behind and kind of, be at it. And the idea behind entrepreneurship is it's a lot of trial and error. I think both of us agree, and we were talking about this, right, just before we started this. Serendipity is a thing. What I'm doing right now is pure serendipity. I landed up doing what I'm doing right now after 7 or 8 attempts, right? So you keep trying, and then you kind of get somewhere. Procrastination to घर पे छोड़ दो, because उससे entrepreneur नहीं बन सकते. If you want to really be an entrepreneur truly, right, you got to be at it. You got to be, hustling, right, in the right way, right, and getting shit done is the way to do it.
A lot of people are confused that what is the right metric when they figure out that this will work, which is basically PMF. You have done it over 7-8 attempts, and similar story with me. What is the simple way to understand it for newbies?
So it varies as per industry. But what I would say, if they want to start something around consumer, or they want to start something around, e-commerce or commerce in general, it's, retention and repeat. I think if somebody comes and tries your product and, they stick around, and that's a metric called, kind of LTV or, CAC is to LTV and all of that, that's for a later day. But, very simply put, किसी को अगर आपका product अच्छा लगता है and they will come back to your store or your website or your Amazon link, to buy it again, that is where you know that you're doing the right thing. I think that's kind of the most important metric, repeat purchase and retention. And the idea is you should make, you should try and make money from every transaction, from a unit economic standpoint, where your product, so there is a metric called contribution margin, 1, 2, 3. But keeping it very, very simple, if somebody new comes in and buys your product, ideally you should aim to make profit in the first transaction itself, keeping, say, some marketing or fixed costs aside. That's very, very important to be able to build sustainably, especially in this market and for the future. The businesses that have kind of built with the right first principle fundamentals of unit economics will always survive. That's one thing to keep in mind.
What was the key moment that made you leave your high-paying job and become an entrepreneur? Because it's a completely difficult and different journey.
So it's actually very funny. When I was in my kind of job world, I actually kind of grew very quickly. When people would ask me during my performance reviews, okay, what do you want to do? What is your next promotion? I'm like, I'm not looking for a promotion. I want to be an entrepreneur and I'm learning. And people would laugh. Yes, maybe I missed a few promotions, but it didn't matter because, here is what I'm doing and I wanted to do. And the other thing is, when you're kind of doing a job, you hit some cap, right? In terms of, say, growth, either from a learning standpoint or from a financial standpoint. But if you want to have an outsized outcome, whether it's in terms of wealth, whether it's in terms of impact, it can't happen by doing a job. So I was very, very clear. In 2020, and COVID also helped. I did a lot of thinking in life. 2021, I stepped on. I jumped into entrepreneurship. It's been, about 4.5 years now, and there's no going back. It's a way of life.
A lot of people struggle with initial funding. Right. What is your view on Bootstrapped versus funding?
So I've done both, to be honest. Right, my current venture is Bootstrapped. It's Bootstrapped, self-funded. The other venture, Even Flow Brands, that I co-founded, we raised money on day zero. We had a $1 million check even before the company got incorporated. To now, when I've kind of bootstrapped NUVR. Yeah, it's a very different journey. So the idea is, both journeys, there's no right and wrong. It is a mix of, one, what works for you, and two, what the business demands. I was very, very clear. So with NUVR, I am actually working with these large brands, and each of my contracts is double-digit lakhs or single-digit crores in an annual level. I don't need funding, at this point. But I know that, tomorrow, to scale up this business, to take it internationally, at some point, funding might be required. So, how to think about it is, funding actually a kind of financial investment you take into your business. It's part of the process. It's not the end game. To build that business, agar paise chahiye, either in the form of equity or in the form of debt, or in some other structure, it is actually a part of the process and it's a building block. It is not the block itself, which is what I will tell people. A lot of, young, and I've kind of been at fault there as well. I would find, raising money or investing and, very fancy and very sexy. But what I realized is, it doesn't matter, whether you raise today, whether you raise or not raise, dhanda banana hai, business banana hai, however you do it, it's capital is just a function. What I would recommend is, if you really need, so maybe you are starting something and you want to, say, example, build a D2C brand today, and you know that you will have to spend a lot of money on social media, marketing, etc. And you don't have that kind of savings because you are 18, 19, 20 years old. In that case, you can look for some angel investors early who can kind of back you, give you the capital to test and try. Or, if you want to start something else which kind of does not need as much capital, you can start bootstrapped and then explore your way forward.
For a 20-year-old, what is the minimum capital that you feel to launch on Amazon?
Honestly, in my other, startup, Even Flow Brands, I would acquire Amazon brands, and I acquired, about 8 of them. So these people who I acquired, very interestingly, and you won't believe this, they started their business 4 years, 5 years ago with 4 lakh, 5 lakh kind of money, and built their way. The thing is, you can even start an Amazon brand with, 4-5 lakh rupees also. Or even lesser. But the idea is, it's a factor of, how fast you can go. So if you have, more money up front. It just gets you more speed. But I would say to put a number so that, whoever is watching this can, have a range. Try to have at least something between 5 lakh, to 20 lakh rupees if you're looking to start an Amazon brand, and do your research well. Because the idea is it's a vast ocean and, everything looks sexy. You got to pick your market and kind of backward work how much money you need, right? But it's actually very straightforward, and Amazon that way has very easy ease of doing business. So you can launch, from today, if we discuss what to do and launch a brand, and then we can go live in about 30 days or less, right? So the turnaround time is very, very fast and money gets rotated. So 15 to 25 lakhs at the cap is good enough. And then when you get started, there are many ways to figure out funding. You get, say, better terms from your manufacturer, you get some more credit, you can balance out your finances there. Amazon has certain ad credits, etc. that they give you. So there are many nuances, but the idea is intent agar rahega, money can get figured out. Yeah.
What are 3 myths that are prevalent to a successful e-commerce brand today?
So I think the first myth is capital. Right? Everybody feels that, if you have too much capital, only then you will succeed. Right? Which is not the case. The kind of brands that I work with right now, and the ones I partner with, are brands who are mostly bootstrapped through their, life, and have raised from private equity only very recently. Right? And they've been around for a while. So capital is a myth. Right? 2, there are examples of the likes of, Mamaearth and, Bombay Shaving, etc. They're great companies, and they've been able to build whatever they've been able to build in 7-8 years. But I don't think 7-8 years is the right benchmark. So I think what has happened is everybody feels that you can build a great D2C brand in 7-8 years, 10 years. It's a longer game. I feel it's actually a 20-year game. Right? So if you want to build a brand, so there is a difference between whether you want to build a brand or you want to build a trading business. Right? If you want to build a brand, it's a 20-year journey. Right? So that's the second myth. The third myth I will put out is, the market is small. People say that, okay, this market is small, that market is small, how many people are you buying? India is absolutely a crazy market. I mean, it's so large, right? Like, there is a brand that I work with, it's called Origami Tissues, right? And they sell some 50-60 crore or more, if I have to check the numbers, of toilet paper online.
Oh, right.
And I'm like, okay, who's buying toilet paper? First, who's buying toilet paper? I want to know. 2, and if you're buying, are you eating it? Like, so I'm trying to say that the consumption story in India is phenomenal, right? Every small niche that you pick is an outright sized market, right? It's huge. So the potential is kind of untapped. So that's the third one, that, market size is a myth where people consider certain spaces to be small. They're actually not. Nothing in India is small.
So how do you think about competition?
I have a very different take. I feel, competition helps increase the market size. 5 years back, I would, want only me to exist and competition to not exist. But over the last 4-5 years, I've realized that together you increase the market size and you keep taking some share of the pie. Right? So competition is important. Right? And healthy competition is even more important.
What do you say to a 20-year-old who's just having 1 lakh rupees? How can he build a brand on Amazon just to get started, and then obviously metrics will take over?
If you have exactly 1 lakh rupees, what I would do, right, and there's no right or wrong, but I would first go and try and see, which space I feel that there is some opportunity to enter, which means I'll start researching on Amazon. You can go to Amazon bestseller list, right? They will have every category, home and kitchen, sports, fitness, garden, etc. And you can start browsing products, right? And you can start seeing that, okay, in the top 100, where do you think you can kind of come in and enter? Is there a product, one, you're passionate about, or two, you just feel that, you can deliver more value, right? It has to be something where, you find an opportunity first. Then you go deep, then you talk to, people around. I'll give you an example, right? So say, for the sake of, not a better example, but say toothbrush, right? So now you see that, okay, there is neem toothbrush, right? Bamboo toothbrush that is selling, right? But there are only few players that are selling it. You feel that, okay, this market is going to grow. And even if I'm able to get a small share, I can just launch this one product, right? You can then find out, so once you shortlisted the product, then you find out who's manufacturing it. You can just search on Google, bamboo toothbrush manufacturers, in India. And most likely you will find 50 people from India Mart who are already doing it, right? You can just put in your number and they'll start calling you, right? And then you can kind of order, a limited quantity, do the listing, etc. and kind of, test and try, right? Another mistake that a lot of people do is, they feel that, to launch on Amazon, you need to be a proper business, private limited company setup, etc. Not required. You can do a proprietorship entity where, with your own name, you can just get a trade license and bank account, right, and a GST, and just get going, right? So that's what I would say. These are kind of initial steps I would take, and then in case you kind of get stuck somewhere, you can ping and we can help you out.
As a newbie, should I focus on my own website or should I start with Amazon?
I would say you should do both, right? But it depends on the capital you have. Within Amazon, you can kind of get going with limited capital also, because see, the difference is in your own website, you need to get traffic to your website, which is the biggest cost, right? Say you have xyz.com as your website, nobody knows about it. Why will people come and buy? Whereas on an Amazon, if you launch a particular product, people who are searching for a product will come and kind of find you, right, and then maybe able to purchase. So it's purely about the initial, cost of acquisition of a customer acquisition cost, rather, if I put it that way, which is the limiting factor. So if you have, 1 lakh to 5 lakh rupees, I would say you should do Amazon first. If you have, up to 25 lakh rupees, then I'd be like, you should do a mix of your own website as well as, Amazon.
So a lot of youngsters are confused on where to read all of this, right? They don't have the right mentorship. What are the resources that you personally follow to learn and become the best at e-commerce in India that our target audience or the youngsters of India should go and check?
I believe in learning by doing, to be honest, right? So most of what I've been doing and what my team has been doing across the two ventures, right, is kind of learning on the go, right, because it's an ever evolving industry. So right now, to give you an example, quick commerce contributes very significantly to the brands that we run, right, and it's growing way faster than, say, e-commerce. Now there is nobody knows, like most people are not even aware, so there is nobody to go and ask. It's just we figuring it out ourselves, right, and kind of riding on the wave. But what I would differently kind of put out is a lot of learning can happen from people in similar spaces. So you might have a friend that is already running a brand, right, or you might have a friend who's working at, say, an e-commerce platform. So talking to such people, and especially if such people are relatively senior in the journey, right, so the best kind of advice or mentorship that I've been able to get is from people who are in similar industries or environments and who are much ahead in the curve, either in terms of experience overall from you, right, and sometimes they even end up being competitors. So for example, in this business that I'm running right now, there are certain folks who can also be called competitors, but who've been doing this for the last decade or couple of decades. Now when I go to them, either they can consider me as a competitor, or they can just kind of give me advice that I ask for. So that way, finding the right people is kind of the shortcut, right, and otherwise everything else is on YouTube, right. So if you are able to YouTube properly and kind of search for the right thing, you will find everything there.
People get stuck in getting listed on quick commerce like Swiggy, Zepto and Instamart and Blinkit. What is the hack to get a young brand listed on these quick commerce platforms?
So to be honest, and this keeps coming, and I guess even on our ISB alum networks, we keep finding this. It's honestly a factor of there is limited. So unlike an Amazon, which has unlimited catalog and unlimited inventory that they can store in their massive million square feet warehouses, these quick commerce platforms have limited storage. And what we all must understand is they prioritize only products that, one, they are confident will sell, two, they are confident will sell very quickly. Only those products get in, right? That is why if they have to put a Colgate toothpaste, versus they have to put a new age brand ka toothpaste, they know Colgate will sell and this new age brand ka toothpaste will not sell. So there is no shortcut, there is no hack. You have to perform well on the other marketplaces, Amazon, Flipkart, Myntra, Nykaa, wherever else, and your own website, and you need to have that kind of case study that, okay, my products are doing very well and selling very well on my own websites. They will sell on quick commerce also, right? That is a precursor which is required. The second is, as a new age brand, to get in is actually very, very tough. So I would say that, instead of racking your brain around, how to enter quick commerce, right, you should aim to first do very, very well on Amazon, Flipkart and the others. And then selectively, there might be some products which are your top selling products. Only those products you should try and onboard. And to get in, generally, the only way is you reach out to them, right, and the right category managers, and kind of build a case study. most likely, out of 100 times, 95 times they will say no, because they have too much going on, and there are many more brands which are, which hire, PMF or higher run rate ahead of you. So it's hard, but, just keep at it, because, it's something which is growing very, very fast. So maybe even if it takes a few months or even a year or 2 years, you have to be, behind those platforms and eventually launch.
Got it.
Or just follow Kshitiz Sanghi for business.
Stop procrastinating and start today.
That was the episode, Future Founders. A lot of great founders and entrepreneurs are in line to guide you on your startup journey. Till then, stop procrastinating and start today.